Hi guys and welcome to today's video. Before we get started, I want to say I don't know what's going on with my hair. I feel like I have a bad headache every day I sit down to film a video. It just gets like, I just curl it and it gets like, I don't know, I'm growing out my layers. I think that's actually the issue here. Secondly, I want to say a huge thank you to those of you that have subscribed and left me comments recently. I'm really trying to make an effort here on YouTube. It's just so lovely to see more comments and more subscribers. I really just want to make YouTube videos that I love this year, and so it's really great to see that you guys are enjoying them too. Really sorry that I didn't upload last Thursday. We had like some family stuff going on, so that wasn't possible. But if you are new here, hi, my name is Sabrina. I talk about largely fashion and beauty here on YouTube, but I kind of throw in a few other little lifey bits, so do subscribe if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, and I've linked below my Instagram and my TikTok as well if you prefer those platforms. Today I am talking about Deinfluencing, which is something that I am so excited to see take off. I've had a blog for a really long time, about well in excess of 10 years I think, and I think from the very beginning I love to talk about products that didn't work for me. I think it's always very key to point out that just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. Above the products that I think don't work for me, I think there are products that just aren't worth the money. Often they are great products, but don't warrant the absurd price tag that sometimes beauty products come with. I have, as always, got a couple of notes. If you just see me looking down, that is why. I obviously don't have a lot of the products because I didn't love them, so why do I have them? And some items are a bit vaguer than others, but let's get started. The first kind of two products I want to talk about are, and I'm gonna have to leave pictures because I don't know the exact name of the product, but the Fenty foundation and the Charlotte Tilbury foundation, both of them are kind of brands that I really love, and they both have like lighter foundations that I really enjoyed, but they're kind of like normal to full coverage foundation. I just didn't like. Both of them I found very cakey. They just weren't what I wanted. I think I bought both of them with my own money and then just didn't use them, which is heartbreaking. But here in the UK we can't return foundations or makeup generally. I feel like I gave into the hype. I assumed that because it was two brands that I love, and I really do love Fenty, and I am a big Charlotte Tilbury fan, but still they didn't work, which is fine. I know other people love them, but I think unless you have very oily skin, they are unlikely to work for you, in my opinion. The other real cult product that I just didn't like is the Laura Mercier powder, and honestly I used this for many years, and you may actually be able to go back and find favourite videos where I featured this product, but this is the Laura Mercier powder. I just find it really separates, and I initially just thought it was my foundations that were causing the issue, but once, I think I was like on a press trip, and I said to someone, oh look, my foundation keeps separating. She looked at my nose and said to me, you're wearing the Laura Mercier powder, and I was like, what, how do you know? And she was like, honestly, like my nose separates exactly the same with that powder. And I was just shocked. I don't know why it happens. I now use the Fenty powder. I absolutely swear by it. I absolutely love it. I buy the small one, it lasts ages. But for me personally, I know it's a cult product, I assume it works for a lot of people, but for me personally, the Laura Mercier setting powder, loose setting powder, just doesn't work. Now there are probably hundreds of other products that I just don't love and that don't work for me, but those are the kind of three that kind of popped to my head when I first thought about this video. The rest are kind of just products that I just don't think are worth the hype or the money. I actually think a lot of these are worth the hype, but not the money. But let's start with the most expensive one in this video, and it kind of ties into another product that I don't have, but that I still don't think is worth the money. And that is, and I feel like this is quite a controversial one, that is the Shark, what is this called? The Shark Styler. I can't remember what they call it. I love this. I just think it's so expensive, and I just don't think it's worth the money. I use this every single day I dry my hair, so it just sounds so weird that this is in this video. I just think this is so expensive. The RRP for this is about £300. The Dyson one is even more expensive. This one's kind of worth it just because the Dyson one is so expensive. So if you are tempted to buy a Dyson one, I would just go for this, but I think they're both just too expensive. I love this product, but I really do have reasons to just think it's not worth the money. I think maybe it's worth the money for some people, but not if you are like me. So I use this every day. Like I said, I use this to blow dry my hair, like rough dry, and then I use one of these to dry the rest. It makes it very easy, but I don't think it warrants the price tag, because I was just using a brush before. Last week, for example, I was away and I didn't want to take this, so I just used a brush. You get pretty much the same finish, I would say. You probably have slightly more control even with a brush than you do with this, with a brush and a blow dryer than you do with this. I think this is probably worth it only if you're going to use the one that sucks up your hair. it does not work in my hair, so that's why it's just not for me. I think for some people it may work. For me, where my layers are quite short, my hair is quite short, it just doesn't work. It does not hold. Like, I had to put rollers in to get them to hold. The finish straight away was beautiful, it really, really was. I don't think it's worth it for me. I mean, most of us already have a blow dryer anyway, so I already had a blow dryer. If I wanted something that just kind of had this sort of brush, I could probably get something for about 40-50 pounds. I guess it doesn't like change and do other things, but I just think this is too expensive. I really think £300 is a lot of money for something that a lot of people won't use. And on top of that, I think that people are led to think that this will like change their life. In particular, the Dyson one will change their life, and suddenly they're going to go from someone that doesn't dry their hair to someone that always has the most luscious, beautiful, blow-dried hair. And that's just not how it works. An expensive price tag doesn't lead to that. So I love this. I think this is much better than the Dyson one. I think the Dyson one is just wildly expensive, but I really, really think people need to think twice before buying this. If this one broke for me, I definitely wouldn't buy it. I would just go back to using a blow dryer and a brush. It's mildly less convenient. I don't think it's worth £300 for convenience, basically. Then onto a few other products I think are just not worth the price tag. I think I love Glossier as a brand. I think they have some really good products. I really like Boy Brow, I really like Cloud Paint, I like the lip balm, can't remember what it's called, but I am a big Glossier fan. The issue I have with some of their products is that they are too natural. I know that's very much Glossier's vibe. I think it makes the product very unversatile, essentially. So for example, here we have Glossier Skin Perfecting Skin Tint. This is so incredibly, incredibly, incredibly light that I honestly think I may as well not wear anything. I think you could achieve such a similar look with just adding a touch of foundation to your moisturizer, and you basically get the same thing, and the product will just last you so much longer. So I think if you invested this price in a foundation and just sheared it out, it just makes so much more sense to me. Then again, the mascara, I like it. I think it's a really nice brush. Again, I don't have it because I finished it. It's a nice brush. It's like really thin. I enjoyed using it, but I just don't think it's worth the money. I think you're so much better off buying another mascara that is buildable, where I don't find the Glossier one buildable. The truth is that you can always thin it out. You can just remove a bit of the product and apply it lightly, but at least you have that versatility to make it thicker or thinner, whereas I think with the Glossier mascara, you can only apply it lightly and it's just not buildable. And it's kind of the same with the foundation. I think it's just not worth it because it's just not versatile in my opinion. On to another product which is just overpriced in my opinion. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Hollywood Filter. I think it's a really nice product. I kind of like, there's mixed reviews as whether people like it. Honestly, I don't love it. I don't think you need this. I just think it's nice. I've had mine for a while. I haven't finished it. So it just shows that I don't necessarily love it. Here it is on my hand. It's just too expensive in my opinion. I think it just really adds a bit of a glow under your foundation or even over it. I just think you're so much better off going for something like Glossier Future Dew. This kind of adds a little bit more of a glow, I would say. And they're not like dupes necessarily, but they offer a very similar finish. I feel like you can't really tell. I just think the Future Dew is cheaper and offers more dew, so you may as well go for this and kind of use slightly less. A great product, just not worth the price in my opinion. Then I've got a few kind of vague things to talk about. Firstly, I think it's overly large eyeshadow palettes. I just don't think are worth it. I think they're difficult to travel with. Often, sometimes they cost a little bit more, but often I think the quality is just not as good. I think often we're all just a bit overwhelmed by them. For example, I think this one is just that little bit too big. It's got 6, 12, it's got 18 shades. In comparison to something like this, which just has 6, but I just think this, although it probably was a little bit more expensive, this is just so much easier and nicer to use. I like traveling with this. This, I just honestly just never ever reach for. I don't think it's a bad palette. I don't know, like it's just not as inspiring as this. I think this, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I know what to do with that. I look at this and I'm like, where do I start? And that's coming from me as someone who does wear a lot of eyeshadow. So I think for most people, a smaller eyeshadow palette is just so much more usable and less scary. So definitely something to bear in mind, I think. It doesn't mean that I don't have some big palettes. I definitely do. I weirdly don't reach for them anywhere near as much as I reach for my smaller palettes. Honestly, recently I've actually been reaching for a lot of single eyeshadows, which is quite new to me. I've spoken about this before. I know I speak about this a lot, but I think decision fatigue is a thing, and having 60 palettes in an eyeshadow is just not for me these days. Then I think clay masks, just go for something really affordable. I don't think you need to spend lots of money on it. I think you're much better off spending your money on a nice serum or a nice hydrating mask. But to be honest, like even with a mask, like all of them you're washing off, you're only having it on for like 10 minutes. And I think there are some great affordable products, but I just think in particular clay masks, just go for something really cheap. And then my final point is mascaras. Don't get me wrong, I think there are some really truly incredible high-end mascaras. For example, Too Faced Better Than Sex was a mascara I used for years, like a really long time. I didn't use anything else. I think Lancome Hypnose is nice. I think YSL have some excellent mascaras. I think Charlotte Tilbury has some decent mascaras, but there are some really good high-end mascaras. That said, I just don't think they're worth the money. They're great, but they're, oh, Hourglass has a good one too, but they're great. Such good affordable ones. I just don't think it's worth the price. I think whatever kind of look you're going for, that is available at about £10, I would say. If you want something that's lengthening, something like L'Oreal Telescopic is great. If you want something that's thickening, there's that Paradise one, which I can't remember what it's called, but I'll leave the name here and I'll link it down below. With everything, I think if you have the money, if you want to spend it, great, you do you, but don't feel that you need to spend it. I really don't think it's necessary. Generally, I think you can just buy drugstore and have great makeup. Obviously, I think it's a slightly different experience when you're buying high-end products. There are some really truly great drugstore products. But do let me know down below, what is your favourite drugstore mascara, what affordable products you always buy, and also what you don't think is worth the hype. Is there anything that you have saved up for and bought and then just not loved? I would really love to hear about that. Do leave me a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.